Hello everyone, so in the previous video I wrote an array based class which is pretty much the basis for all the containers that we're going to need for this project, which is the vector class, the matrix class, and also the volume class, as I mentioned before. So in this video I would like to at least start writing the vector class. So I'm going to try to write some code for that. So let's just go ahead and add a new file, header file. We're going to say vector. Maybe let's just move it over here. Alright, so just gonna say prima once. And let's grab some of the stuff from the array class. So we're gonna include vector.h, and we're gonna say vector, and it inherits from the array class. Sorry, supposed to include array here, of course. Let's just create an empty constructor just to be explicit, and maybe one that corresponds to the second constructor in the array class. So we're going to say in number of elements. And maybe one more thing. Let's say that we're going to use the word base to refer to our base class, which is in this case the array class. So we're going to say base num elements, and it should call this constructor over here for us. Alright, so now maybe let's create a constructor that will accept and initialize a list. So later on in our code we could do something like, say, vector float, maybe like 1 for 8.1. and so on. So basically this is how we'll be able to initialize this vector object. So let's say vector, and we're gonna say initializer list of t. Probably have to include it. So initializer list should work for now, hopefully. Okay, seems to be working now. So over here I'm just gonna call this constructor first, so that it takes care of the pointers for us, or of memory allocation basically. So we can say base list size. Okay, and now over here we can say f number of elements greater than 0. Okay, this is in our base class. Let's say integer I 0, and just a basic for loop. You say constant t. We're taking a constant reference to the current value from the list. You're gonna say base data. I'm gonna set it to this value, and now I'm gonna increment this variable, and we should be good to go. So now it should let us take this initializer list. So maybe let's just, but before we do it, maybe let's just try to create some toString method for display purposes. So you can say city string to string. Maybe you can specify something like padding. Let's say 12 by default. All right, so to string, let's just maybe add here, include a string stream. This also will provide a reference to the string header for us. I'm gonna say string stream. And for the integer from 0, I'm gonna increment this. Let me add another header here. I think it's called input output manip for manipulation. And so we're gonna set width of like one number basically that's going to be displayed. So this is the padding, and we're going to refer to the data itself. So something like this, and then we just add a new line and return to it converted, and the form converted to string. So maybe, and by the way, maybe let's try to add another class, kind of like an alias. So we're gonna say it's gonna be like the main file that we can include in our project. So see a vector array. include a vector for now, the vector h. So instead you're gonna say this. Right, so let's try to do it a vector, and I'm gonna say 1, 2, 4.5. Well, again, I didn't specify that it should be public. Okay, and now let's say to string. And instead of this hello world here, we're gonna display this. Right, so as you can see, it's gonna display those values for us, and we can initialize it like so. Probably we might not even need that. Oh yeah, we do. It's just telling us to fix this, but if we do, we no longer have that reference. So let's just keep it for now. Okay, so just a string, and oftentimes you're gonna have to initialize those containers in some way, sometimes randomly or like pseudo randomly. So let's go to the array class. Let's go back to it, and now we're gonna add a method called maybe somewhere here. Let's say fill with random, and specify the minimum value as well as the maximum value. So let's include the random header. And back here we're going to say random device. Not sure what happened. So we're going to use the Mersenne twister for generating random values. It's going to be a uniform real distribution. From minimum to maximum. So basically for 0 Okay, forgot this. Okay, so now this should let us fill this vector with random numbers. So instead of this, we could specify, let's say, number of elements, let's say 10. We're going to say fill with random from -1 to 1, and hopefully it will work. Okay, so as you can see here are our values. So since we've already written the toString method, so we might as well overload the stream insertion operator. And I say stream operator I'm going to take reference to that stream and a constant reference to the input vector. We're just going to call this method over here. So toString and return OS. So now instead of this, you can just do this directly, and it should display the numbers inside the vector. Okay, maybe one more thing that I will possibly need is an overloaded equals or assignment operator. So I'm going to say constant vector other, and now I'm going to say if other number of elements isn't the same as in this vector, this current vector, I'm going to say number of elements, I'm going to set it to this. And now if base is not null, and also the other vector is not null, you're going to say base in data and reinterpret cast the t pointer, and you're going to use the realloc function. Okay, so maybe let's just use some temporary pointer here. Just to be sure it doesn't return. Sorry, should have put it here. So I'm gonna say base data and the new size is the size in bytes. So now if this temporary pointer is not null, I'm gonna say base mp data and pointer. Yeah, this may be neater than, you know, returning the same pointer as we're passing here. Okay, so this is the first option, and now else if base is null, but the other vector is not null. I'm gonna say this data reinterpret cast t pointer, and we're gonna say std malloc. So basically base get size in bytes. And finally, the last branch here, if everything fails, we're just gonna say null pointer. One more thing, if now after what we've done, the base is not null, and the base number of elements is greater than 0, we're gonna copy that memory. So I'm gonna say base data other data base get size. Hopefully this is correct. Well, if anything, we can try to fix it later on, because there's quite a lot of things going on here. Yeah, we're using realloc so that if there's enough space to extend an already existing portion of memory, we won't really be moving to another location in memory. We can just stay where we are and move the data from the other vector. Okay, it looks about right. So we can still go back to this class. But for now, this should do. So that's it for now. I hope you've learned something new. I know we're not really writing the convolutional neural network yet, like the actual thing, but you know, we have to write those classes and stuff that will allow us to do that later on. So hopefully you'll stick around, and see you next time. Bye.